Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hello there and a welcome to you. My voice was just fine until the intro started, and then I sort of cleared my throat for a second, and it got gravelly, wouldn't you know it? Anyway, welcome. It's the last day in August, and I'm going to be talking at you. By the way, no show Monday. It's Labor Day. Back when I was in TV and radio, I used to have to work Labor Day, so now I don't have to, and I ain't gonna. So there. Looking forward to later in the show when John McIntyre joins us. And John McIntyre, one of the funniest people in town, smart, funny, should have been on one of the major TV stations here forever, but he's too hot, I think, is the term that would apply. Risk averse, bean counter, worried executives at commercial TV and radio stations get nervous by talent. Like John McIntyre. So he'll be joining us. That'll absolutely be sure to be fun. Just saying. He butt called me 4 times this morning. I texted him and said, "You're butt calling me." I haven't heard back. I hope to hell he actually calls in to the show. But usually those butt calls are my brother. I don't know what it is with gray-haired old men. They butt call. Okay, so I got some things I just want to sort of get out of the way. Remember the Harris Walls interview tonight, CNN, if you care to watch, just pointing it out. And I've been giving a lot of thought to what the caller, Mike, yesterday said, or Tuesday said, or whenever the hell he said it, that calling the Democratic nominee Kamala, calling her by her first name, is just a classic misogynistic way to, take her down a notch, to not treat her with the way that we treat a man running. And there's truth in what he says. On the other hand, I mean, it's not, I'm going with it, which is why I said I'm going to really try to say Harris and not Kamala. But sometimes a name is so unique that it packs a punch. I mean, you notice it. Harris, there's a million people named Harris. Chances are you know somebody named Harris. But do you know anybody named Kamala? And so Kamala stands out. And so I'll argue that point, that it's a little less a certain thing, that it is disrespectful. I was thinking, okay, let's see if that applies to recent history. So Barack Obama. Now there was an unusual name. Both names were unusual, so I guess mostly we went with Obama. But I don't know. I've been seeing signs popping up that say, "Thank you, Joe." And that's what they said at the convention, the crowd, one of the chants. And that bespeaks a familiarity and an affection. So I just want to say things are a little more complicated. However, yeah. I already got a caller. I haven't even started the damn show. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hi, Lynn. This is Adele Schwartz. Last week we talked, and you had said if you had known Bethany Hallam was going on the show,
Jesus.
you wouldn't have accepted.
Yeah.
So, I'm very sorry to hear you're going. I mean, you
Adele.
yourself said you weren't
Adele.
excited to be sharing the stage
Adele, I don't want to
with
talk.
somebody who wants to wipe,
I don't want to talk
the map
about
off
this.
Israel.
Goodbye. Johnny One Note. Goodbye. You hijacked my show. You already had your say. I don't want to live in a world where we're one issue people and you can't even share a stage, even if it's not a political event, with somebody, okay? Just stop already. Well, the good news is the phones work. So she was able to call in. I'm just saying. Let me get back to my show. Some things I just want to get in. Any other? I'm again with the name thing I was just doing. Are we thinking of any? Yeah, Nixon was Nixon, Gore was Gore, but I mean their name is Al Gore. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's a little more complicated, but in fact, whatever. Okay. Man, I haven't hung up on a caller in ages, so there you go. Things I haven't talked about but want to talk about, the Arlington Cemetery thing. Let me get my 2 cents. Word Tracy's saying, notice that mainstream media is mostly referring to her as Harris or the vice president. That's good. That's good. I just want to give you 2 quotes from things I've read about Arlington Cemetery and Trump using it as usual, disrespectfully, and as a photo op and for political purposes, which is against federal law. But in my reading of stuff, I came upon 2 quotes that just blew me away. Here's one. Okay, here's a quote, and I'm leaving out the subject, okay? Subject: a despicable individual who does not deserve to represent the hallowed grounds of Arlington National Cemetery. A despicable individual who does not deserve to represent the hallowed grounds. And I'm thinking, well, that's somebody talking about Trump, right? No, it's not somebody talking about Trump. It's about Trump's, whatever he is, press secretary kind of person, talking about the woman who works for the cemetery who was attempting to stop this flouting of a federal law, and was screamed at and physically shoved, I understand. And get this, we've heard that there's been no formal complaint lodged. You know why? She's the only one who could lodge it, and she has expressed fear. Fear. There we go again. Fear of the brown shirts. Fear of the MAG rats. Fear of the intimidators and bully boys. Fear. And and now I understand, because when they first said that this person was having some kind of mental breakdown, right? Some kind of mental, and I didn't know it was a woman. That should have been the hint right there. That's a way, again, if a woman is angry or assertive, then she's having some kind of mental issue to these misogynistic bully boys, right? So, unbelievable. Again, here we go with the sort of whenever they're saying something about somebody else, whether they realize it or not, they are absolutely defining themselves. I think the psychological term is called projection. So they call her, the woman who is doing her job, a despicable individual who does not deserve to represent the hallowed grounds of Arlington National Cemetery. Another quote I saw that just blew me away. And this is a quote from Trump's mouth that I believe was uttered at Arlington during this law-breaking political photo op. He called the withdrawal, obviously not a great withdrawal, the precipitous withdrawal from Afghanistan. He calls it chaotic. I'll agree with him on that. The chaotic withdrawal, but he said this: it was the most embarrassing moment in American history. I'll tell you what's in the top 3 of the most embarrassing moments in American history, of which there are many. And this is nowhere near it, the pullout from Afghanistan. Absolutely one of the top, if not the top, most embarrassing moments in American history is the election of Donald J. Trump, right? Talk about a faceplant, a global faceplant, a shameful thing that we, the people, did, right? God almighty. Okay, so I had just wanted to get in on that. And the thumbs up. Oh my God, the thumbs up and the grin. He's standing on the grave of someone who did something he can't even conceive of. And in fact, he considers something only a sucker does, someone who gave their life for their country. And he's smiling with a thumbs up. What the hell? Okay, that's it. I just vile does not even begin to define this character. A story I haven't talked about at all, and I'm not going to, except for just a second, because I found it interesting. The rich guy's yacht that went down off of Sicily or something, and I mean, it just went down in a blink of an eye, which has everybody who knows anything about the boat sort of stunned. And obviously people died, 6 people, including the owner and his daughter and his wife. But and I mean, he's got an interesting history. He was celebrating in part the fact that he beat the rap here in the United States in a trial. He'd been extradited from England to San Francisco to face criminal charges about his the sale of his tech company to Hewlett Packard. Anyway, he won. Hewlett Packard lost. He goes back home. He gets a group of pals together. They go on the yacht and they dead, which is sad. But there's a little fact I just happened to see as an aside when I was reading something about it. And it made me think, and I must be wrong because I haven't seen anybody else say that there could be, but it turns out that his co-defendant in the case he won in San Francisco, a guy who had been the vice president of finance in the company that Hewlett Packard bought and then regretted buying and so decided it was a criminal act, whatever the hell. But that guy, his co-defendant, was killed 2 days before the yacht went down, killing him while he was jogging in England, got hit by a car. I'm just saying, ain't that odd? If you were given to conspiracy theories, would you not suggest that somebody maybe think that that yacht went down for nefarious reasons, not the storm? I don't know. But that's odd. You got 2 defendants, they get off, and now they're both dead within days of each other, separate incidents. Mm-hmm. Okay, 2 sort of funny stories I saw and haven't had a chance to share with you and wanted to. Both, I guess, could be put under a general title of New York real estate stories. Did you hear about the one about the emotional support parrots? Dear God in heaven. This emotional support animal thing is just obviously being abused left, right, and center. It's not that I'm saying that an emotional support animal has to be furry, but people have them as snakes. They get on planes saying with a snake saying, I have to, and law says you have to let me. Anyway, there was a piece that went on and on and on about a woman who was drummed out of her condominium by the condominium board because she had 3 support parrots who did what parrots do, which is, squawk a lot. And apparently this was not an issue when she just had 2, but when she got the 3rd, all hell broke loose, according to the people who live on either side. So the astonishing thing about this is that this thing went all the way to, I think, the federal government because of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Oh no, she filed a fair housing complaint. So it went to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And to my mind, unbelievably, she won. And she not only won, but the federal government said that the condo board had to pay her $165,000 in damages and has to buy her condo for $585,000. What? Okay, just saying. New York real estate. And then there was the other one about David Copperfield's penthouse, if you hadn't heard. Yeah, among many properties he has, he had a 4-story penthouse. That'd be the top 4 floors of some building in New York City. He was rarely there, and there's lawsuits aplenty because he abandoned it, and pipes broke and flooded his billionaire neighbors' places beneath him, and he's accused of abandoning his penthouse in a trashed state and causing all kinds of other problems for others. And there are some pictures, and man, you would not want to be in the bathroom. I am telling you. David Copperfield, geez. They said he just sort of disappeared in the night. Imagine that. Oh, yeah. Something else I have. This is totally disjointed. I realize that, but it's the nature of a final show of the week. Just trying to clear out my desk, okay? Did you see this thing about how male drivers, if they're listening to a disembodied voice give them directions, as many of us do these days, if the voice that's telling them where to turn and yada yada, if the voice is a very feminine voice, male drivers drive more recklessly. They've studied it. They take the same guys. They have a male voice telling them turn right at the next light, and they follow the road's, rules. And if it's like a woman saying, turn right at the next light, they gun it. Now, here's my question. Does this surprise you? No, it do not. So anyway, the folks who did this research, and this has been independently verified by a number of other researchers, I could just say, yeah, let's verify it. It just makes perfect sense. So the conclusion is that if we want to make the roads safer, then ideally manufacturers and this again, so a woman loses her job. Anyway, it says here manufacturers are advised to reduce the femininity of voices in car voice design. Things I'm scared of that I never used to be scared of. Mosquitoes. I mean, I avoided them. But now I'm really scared of them. We got this EEE, we got this, that, and the other thing. We got West Nile, we got Lyme disease. I am just, I'm terrified of mosquitoes, okay? I dutifully empty any standing water on my property. I really, really do. You know who's not doing it? A whole bunch of you. You're killing us. And I mean, mosquitoes need just a teaspoonful of standing water. Just saying. Okay, so mosquitoes. And here's another. Lithium batteries. Guys, I I don't think a day goes by that I don't see another story about somebody dying from, or houses burning down, or the one I saw today was a children's book that had been left in the child's car seat. And when they got back to the car, the flames were shooting all over the place. The child's book, which had a lithium battery in it, that I don't know did what. Maybe the book, had some little sound effects or something that required. Why are they legal is what I want to know, if they're so dangerous? Houses are burning down. I and I You know what? I'm not. The lithium batteries always those sort of flat little. I don't want one anywhere near me. I just want to say that. And then if you get on an airplane, right? You get on an airplane, which is, can make you nervous enough. By the way, I heard just the other day, I have a friend who was a flight attendant her entire working life, and she's got a million other flight attendant and pilot friends. There's one former pilot, who will not get on a commercial flight. Won't. Dear God in heaven. Anyway, they say, do you have any lithium batteries? I admit, I always say no, but I don't know. I don't know, do I? I don't know anymore what anything is. I got a pacemaker now, and they tell me don't have a magnet near it. And I'm thinking, God, I don't know. There's probably magnets and all kinds of stuff. I don't know. So I am now traversing an environment that is terrifying, because I don't know where these dangerous things are. Lithium batteries, magnets. Who knew? Jesus. Okay, what else do I have? Oh, this is just a heads up. I think I told you once that Prime Stage Theater did this. It was a cemetery walk over at Homewood Cemetery here near me. I'm pointing out my window. And I thought it could have been better, but the idea is delightful, and it was interesting. So you walk around a little bit, not too much, from grave to another grave, and the people who are buried there are brought to life by the actors, and you learn, fascinating stories about all these people you didn't know about, or maybe you did, who are buried there. And I see that they're doing another one, and I just wanted to let you know. So if that sounds like something you might want to do with some friends, you should. Meanwhile, can I find it so I can share it? I don't think so. Where is it? Oh, I got it. Okay, hang on. I am discombobulated. Oh, God. 78, 90% of my emails and texts are all pals begging for money. And I give them money. Maybe that's my mistake, right? Let me find it because I just want you to know. Here it is. Where and when. So now they're doing a cemetery walk. Oh, it's in Homewood again, the Homewood Cemetery. There's so many famous people buried there. It says, if you ever wanted to have a conversation about Oreos or Fig Newtons with the guy who invented them, well, you'll meet him. Well, he's 6 feet under, but there he'll be. Sylvester Marvin died in 24. And they're doing a second annual cemetery walk there. And they do a number of tours. They last 1 hour, and you just have to go to primestage.com to sign up. This will be going on September 28 from noon to 4. Okay? $20. Fun. It's fun. I just wanted to give them a little bit of a plug. All right. Just waiting on McIntyre to call in. I hope he doesn't forget. I mean, oh God, Laura says your mobile phone has a lithium battery. It does? Well, geez. So I hold it. It gets close to my pacemaker. If I'm looking at it, which I'm always looking at, it's about, excuse me. It's about a few inches. You're on the line? How come it's not showing? Uh-oh. I see ya. Hey, John, I'm sorry. I don't know why my little thing didn't work there. Are you here? Hello?
Yes, I am here.
John!
Well, I'm actually there, but I'm here.
Yeah, I get it.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can I hear you now? Yes, I can. I'm sorry. I hope you haven't been waiting there long.
No, just 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh, shit. Okay. So listen, you.
Oh, so you can swear on this. So you can swear on this podcast.
Are you kidding? I swear too much.
I didn't know.
No, I swear too much. I do.
No, you probably don't swear enough.
No, I swear too much. I'm trying not to.
What the fuck are you thinking?
That's right. I say that way too much. So, and it is, I admit, freeing after being constrained by the Federal Communications Commission.
Exactly. Absolutely.
I know.
I do a Facebook Live podcast once a week, and I swear as much as I possibly can to make up for all those years when I couldn't.
Yeah, I know. John McIntyre, ladies and gentlemen, lest you don't know this character, you've been in Pittsburgh about as long as I have. When did you get here?
1996. So I think you've been a little longer, haven't you?
Oh, hell yeah. I had 15 years before you. Jesus.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Still a long time.
A long time.
Longest I've ever lived anywhere, including my hometown.
Me too. I mean, by far. By far. Oh, speaking of your hometown, is it Kankakee?
Kankakee. It's Native American for please God, don't let me die here.
I know Kankakee, but then we found out once that it's odd that our mothers went to the same high school. You've forgotten this.
No, I haven't. Didn't your family live on Cherry Street a few blocks from where my grandmother and my mother's childhood home was?
I guess,
Illinois?
Because my mother grew up on Cherry Street in Galesburg.
Yeah. Yeah.
How odd.
Yeah.
And so the 2 generations later, these 2, yackers end up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Well,
clearly it was destiny.
I obviously. So you know what? I was thinking that Pittsburgh, which seems like a very conservative town, still, I think, for some reason allowed oddballs like you and me to do our thing here. They embraced us.
Well, I think the general manager of the television station that hired me, WPXI, believed in characters. He hired John Fedko, which I'm not saying is anything like me or you, but somebody who stands out because they're a little off the beaten path.
Right.
And the town used to embrace characters. I don't know that they do anymore. But Doug Hurst. I mean, the woods are full of characters who've been in Pittsburgh broadcasting.
Oh my God. And I was lucky in that I worked at WTAE at a time when they had slews of characters, of which I was, I think, maybe the only women, females weren't necessarily allowed to be characters.
True, that's true.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Are you the only female character? Let me think.
Yeah. Well, you think
I
might be.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's untoward. It's not feminine to have a large or loud personality. But I was thinking of that. So we don't make characters like we used to, and maybe they're there, but they're not given an opportunity to flourish like you and I were. Who are the characters you miss most? Okay, go ahead. Just do it.
I started to say she's not in broadcasting, but Bethany Hallam, who was on the storytelling show that we'll talk about at some point, is certainly a character.
Is she?
I don't know. A nut. She's a lunatic. Oh yeah, you'll find out at the storytelling show. She, I think I told you last time storytelling show she told the story of how horrible it was to be in jail, and she was addicted to, I think it was heroin at the time, and was sneaking in clean vials of urine in her butt cheeks to try to pass the drug test. But she tells this story with wild abandon and without fear or favor. She's not afraid to reveal embarrassing details about herself. I think you and I would share that trait.
Yes. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
She's a nut.
Well, okay, a nut. So name the nuts you miss. There were so many.
Doug Hurst, certainly. I remember he used to tell that story about being in a gay conga line in Miami. And he goes, and that doesn't really do it justice, but he was a great storyteller, and I miss that about him the most.
He was an amazing storyteller. Amazing.
Yeah. And another character I miss, as long as we're talking broadly, not just in broadcasting, who I spent the last several years doing shows with on stage, was Cyril Webb.
Oh, yeah. You did.
I mean, he was also brilliant and a great forensic pathologist and a historical figure, but he was also a character.
Oh my God, you can't get much more of a character than Cyril. But you two shared a stage doing what?
I was chronically underemployed, and I thought, how could I make money? And I thought, I wonder if Cyril would do shows with me in theaters. And so I called him up and said, hey, how about this? We do the show. I interview about all the famous cases, and we split the money. You get 70 and I get 30%. He said, oh, no, John, you can have half the money. Don't worry about it. I thought, I can? Seriously? Because you're the show.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was so sweet. No, I'm credit card free, debt free today, thanks to Dr. Cyril Webb. I earned, and he sold out every time. He was a rock star, and people would show up and they'd say, we saw this show 3 times already, and you guys talk about the same cases, but we come again because we love him. We can't get enough of him. It was funny to me how a forensic pathologist was literally a rock star, like worshipped in that sort of hero worship way you might worship Mick Jagger or somebody.
Yeah. Well, he was, I mean, I was going to say inimitable, but that maybe is not true. But nobody, I mean, you cannot manufacture a persona like that. As you said, brilliant, a great violinist as well, an incredible.
Yeah, I could never talk him in. I could never talk him into bringing the violin on stage and playing. But I think he was so rusty, he didn't want to do himself an injustice. But I thought, Cyril Webb playing the violin, people are going to love it. Are you kidding me? I don't care how out of practice you are. But I never could talk him into it.
It'd probably still be amazing because he was really good. And what a narcissist. What Trump has given narcissism a bad name because narcissism can be. Well, I mean it. Because Cyril's was a narcissist. Yeah.
Sure.
And he had reason to be.
He probably own up to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of two narcissists, who do you think's crazier, RFK Jr. or Trump?
I think Trump is an infinitely more despicable human being, but I think the worm brain RFK Jr. is crazier.
Yeah.
The latest episode of him seeing a whale on a beach, cutting the head off of the whale, putting it on top of their car, it was apparently leaking into the car. That's what his daughter said in some magazine interview. So it smelled. Cars were honking at him because it was flying. The liquid from the whale's head was flying all over the highway. That is a lunatic.
That's a lunatic.
Have you heard that story before?
Yes. No. Well,
Yeah.
I did. I mean, I read about it. He is.
Right.
Yeah. And to think we made such a big deal about Mitt Romney with a dog on the roof, a live dog.
I know, exactly. That pales in comparison. You know, I once emceed an Allegheny County Democratic Party dinner, and the guest speaker was RFK Jr.
Oh, my God.
And I thought, should I get up there when I introduce him? Should I do a cheesy Kennedy imitation? And I thought, no, you shouldn't do that. And I thought, John, when is the next time you're going to get to do a Kennedy imitation in front of a Kennedy? You have to. No idea. I went up there. I can't even remember what I said. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country or whatever. And he's looking at me like, who's this local yokel? And when can I get out of here?
Well, fuck him. I mean, what happened to his voice? What happened to his voice? Did he sound like he sounds now?
I'm not sure. I know something happened to his voice, and it doesn't sound very strong like a Kennedy anymore.
No, it just sounds like a croak. So listen, I want to, you mentioned Bethany Hallam, and I that was a opportunity for anyone who's paying attention to plug this event that you have invited both of us to. So go for it, plug.
Yes. Well, it is a storytelling show. Storytelling has become very popular in recent years with the Moss franchise and others. This is not that formal. They don't let you use notes. I don't care if you use notes. They don't let you read from a text. I don't care if you read from a text. And it is all about when life gets crazy. So the storytellers are Kahari Mosley, the city councilman, who would tell about the horrible ordeal in Chelsea Wagner his wife went through when they were railroaded into jail in Detroit, guilty of absolutely nothing. I'm so happy.
Hello? Oh, geez. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Damn it. Did we lose you? John? I'm not hearing you. Are you there?
You want me to call?
No. Stay
Yes,
back. It's me. It says here that my internet connection is unstable. Well, I'm unstable too, so that's sort of fitting and proper. It's okay. It's okay. So yeah, Mosley and Chelsea, that was outrageous, man. God. So he's going to tell that story. That'll be wonderful.
So you can hear me again?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's going to tell that story. Bethany Hallam is going to talk about how she got into a lacrosse accident in high school. They gave her prescription drugs. They cut her off. She started using street drugs and was an addict for a while and went to jail but somehow turned that as a basis for a political career. She was honest about it, talked about how she'd really learned things through it, and ended up getting elected, surprisingly, with that as sort of her foundation of her political stature. So
it turns out, being just authentic. Is that the word? That's the word of the hour.
Yes, and once again, the theme is when life gets crazy. And you will talk about the struggles of you can characterize it yourself, but a Wisconsin television newscaster trying to become the first woman anchorman in that market. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, no, I was the weekend weather girl.
Okay. Were you a weather bunny?
No, I was the weather girl hippie. They thought it would be funny to have somebody who didn't look like all the other weather girls. Blonde babes. Yeah. And you know what? That's the first time that someone in a white male in a position of hiring had that idea. Hey, this would be different. This is how you and I broke through. We just needed someone willing to take a risk. So that's how I got in, as being, not the norm. Right. But I parlayed, I parlayed weekend weather girl into, whatever happened after. So where do people...
And I will tell a couple of, go ahead.
No, you go, John.
Oh, I will tell two stories. One, I had booked a singer-songwriter on the show. She recently pulled out. We have an unlikely friendship because the only reason I know her is that when she was in a same-sex relationship with a woman, obviously, years ago, I ended up befriending the woman and sort of stealing the woman from the second woman. That woman and I spent 12 years together, but we parted company. And then for the hell of it, I texted the woman from whom I stole the other woman. And to my shock and surprise, we forged an unusual and likely friendship.
I love it.
And the other story.
Damn it. I'm not hearing John again. I don't know if you are. God damn it. John, and on the off chance that other people are hearing you and I'm not, just keep going. I don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, so now I hear you. So I don't know what.
Anyway, while you can hear me, it's September 7th at the Parkway Theater. You can get tickets online, parkwaytheater.org. It's a small venue, only like 42 seats, which I thought would be good for intimate storytelling. But you might want to get your tickets online if you want to see Lynn tell her amazing story.
Yeah.
Parkwaytheater.org. It is in McKees Rock on Broadway.
On September
they say the
what?
neon lights are bright on Broadway.
Yeah.
7th, Saturday, September 7th.
Okay, got to remember that.
Parkwaytheater.org.
Yeah. Well, so I hope I see you guys there. But yeah, that's not a lot of. You better get your tickets in advance. Indeed.
It's true. It's a nice space outside of the theater, which is a small screening room. They have a nice bar. They have a craft brewery because it's a law that every place has to have a craft brewery now. So it's a really nice space, and a good time will be had by all.
Okay. Hey, by the way, Gigi in my chat is saying, two of my favorites. Thanks for bringing John on. Hey, John, I want to thank you too. John, to me, was just groundbreaking in Pittsburgh broadcasting because of the show he started and anchored for years, with nothing like it in Pittsburgh, but I don't think anything like it. You were before, everybody anywhere, and it was called Night Talk, and it was on PCNC, which was the cable arm of WPXI. Is PCNC still there?
It still exists. Night Talk is dead. As far as I'm concerned, it was dead as soon as I left.
Yes, it was.
But it's still around. They run a lot of news reruns now.
Okay.
Pretty much.
So again, as usual, just. But you put PCNC on the map.
I was fortunate that nobody told me I couldn't do anything. Nobody said stop that. Nobody said you can't be irreverent. Nobody said you can't goof around with newsmakers. No one said. Corey O'Connor, the current Allegheny County Controller. Yeah. He was the city councilman. He told me a story the other day. He remembers being 10 years old, and his father, Bob, the former mayor, who died tragically of brain cancer shortly after becoming mayor, had agreed to do a debate with Tom Murphy at the time, who was the mayor, and Bob O'Connor was running against him. And Bob O'Connor backed out of the debate. So I took a chicken head from like a chicken suit and put it on the desk and interviewed it as if it was Bob O'Connor. And I would say, Bob, why did you back out of the debate? And the camera would take a close-up of the chicken head, and I would say, I'm not saying this is actually brilliant, but it did taunt him, and he did agree to do the debate eventually. But that's the level of freedom I could have. I could just be as silly as I wanted to be.
No,
and the point of the story was Corey O'Connor couldn't believe I was making fun of his dad. He's 10 years old. Why is this guy making fun of my dad on TV?
But he didn't hold it against you as he grew up.
No. He's very friendly. And I don't know if you've heard the rumors that he might run against Ed Gainey for mayor, but they're out there.
I have not heard those rumors.
I have not talked to him about it myself.
I'm not surprised because
I heard.
I mean, there's no doubt that he has mayoral ambitions, I think. And I actually think he probably would be a better mayor than his sweet dad.
I agree. His dad was a great, affable guy, but no rocket scientist.
No. I think Corey's got a little, more going on upstairs.
I do too.
Okay. So
yeah.
So tell me some of the great moments You used to do this. What was that at the end of the year? Um,
yeah, the Night Talk anniversary party.
Oh my God!
Where we would have a bunch of people. Well, it was Tony Norman told me the other day he remembered a moment where Cyril Wecht, Lynn Cullen, Sophie Masloff, a who's who, Jimmy Ecker, the former criminal defense attorney, Bruno Sammartino, were sitting in a circle having a conversation at that party. And that was the great part about it. I modeled it after Playboy After Dark was a show Hugh Hefner used to host. And he'd walk around and go, oh, look, here's Sammy Davis Jr. Oh, look, here's Julie Andrews. But instead of me, it was like, oh, look, here's Sophie Masloff. Oh, look, here's Lynn Cullen. So it was a low-rent version of Playboy After Dark. So I trained Sophie to say, it's the social event of the season. That was her job, to repeat that line every year.
What fun we had. And I thank you.
It was. Sure, absolutely. Thank you.
I mean, really, thank you for all of that. Thank you for loosening up the Pittsburgh airwaves for a little while until, of course, the bean counters put an end to it. And thank you for putting PCNC on the map enough so that I had my own morning show there for a while, Cullen on Cable.
I remember that.
Which I had a lot of fun doing.
And I enjoyed that show very much. I think you even had me as a guest once or twice. That was fun. Yeah. Those were good times.
Yeah. You and I could not get a job in TV.
That was definitely my...
Now.
Say that again?
You and I would not be hired for local television now.
No. And people would say, are you going to look for a job? I really like your show. I'm like, no other local market is doing this that I know of. There are no other irreverent news talk shows in the country in a local market.
Nope.
Or if there are, I can't find them. So I have nowhere to send my tapes to.
No, I understand.
They're just going to say, what the hell? Look at what this guy's doing. We're not doing that here. That's weird.
A lot of the stuff I saw and a lot I did and a lot of stuff you did, you see it now on late night network shows. They stole all our shit.
For example, the Daily Show was just coming out as an irreverent news show. It had been hosted by that Craig Kilborn guy who was kind of a frat boy. But then Jon Stewart took it into the news realm.
Yeah.
And you and I were doing that kind of stuff back then. And it was definitely pioneering for local, without question.
Oh, man. Anyway, I read somewhere that you asked Arlen Specter, you ever go out with Ted Kennedy and just get hammered and grope women?
Yes, I did do that. And he said, I did not go out with Ted Kennedy and grope women. And I would say, what the hell is up with that single bullet theory? It goes right, it goes up, it goes down, to take a left turn at Albuquerque. He'd say, it did not take a left turn at Albuquerque. He loved doing the show. Doug Saltzman, who was one of his aides here, said that he used to say, Doug, get down to the press room and let's see if we can get John a national job. Which was ridiculous because nobody in the press room, whatever that was, could suddenly make a local broadcaster.
Of course.
Broadcaster. But that's how much Specter liked doing the show. I was sad because when he wasn't elected, he started to do stand-up comedy, and I saw him at a club on video in Philadelphia. And I was going to try to get him to come here and do stand-up, but then tragically he passed away too soon.
Arlen Specter was doing stand-up?
Yes, it was. I can't remember the content. It was corny, but it was funny because it was a former U.S. senator who was trying to do it. His material wasn't like cutting edge or anything. It was sort of corny, as I recall. But it's something he wanted to do. He was a ham.
Yes.
Very much like Cyril. Those two got along despite their differences on the single bullet theory. They got along well.
Yeah. I totally
another narcissist. Another narcissist.
Right. What's odd? Bob Dole and Arlen Specter, come to think of it, were from the same small Kansas town.
Yeah. What was the Kansas town?
I don't know.
I used to know it before I became an aging baby boomer and forgot everything.
Hey, Tracy wants to know.
Russell.
I got two questions from listeners here.
Okay.
Did John used to sit in when people went on vacation during the TAE years, or am I misremembering? Those were the days, as sung by Doug
Yeah.
Lawrence.
Yeah, I did not do that.
No, he did not do that. So you're misremembering. And Tracy, and I know the answer to this one, any Myron Cope stories?
Do I have time to tell that?
Sure.
I can
Go
do a
for
short
it.
version.
Go for it.
So I already told this story. The first storytelling show I did last year, I told this story. So Myron's going to be on this show, and I'm still pretty new in town. And I asked Sam Nover, the sportscaster, what should I ask Myron? And I didn't know at that time that all the sportscasters hated one another and were rivals, at least the older ones. So he said, well, he was born Myron Kopelman. Why don't you ask him why he was born Myron Kopelman? And why he changed it to Cope? And I thought, well, that sounds like a legitimate question. You know, Tony Curtis used to be Bernie Schwartz. Why did you change your name? So I get him on the air, and I'm like, by the way, I understand you used to be Myron Kopelman. Yeah, well, you know, the Post Gazette said they thought if I used Kopelman, that it would get rid of the anti-Semite viewers. You know, the people who didn't like Jews, they wouldn't read my copy. So he made me change the name. I'm like, oh, well, how did you arrive at Cope? He said, well, I just picked it out of a phone book. And I thought, what do you mean you just picked it out of a phone book? You slice off the Ullman. That's how you got Cope. So I said, well, you know, let's go to break. Back with Myron Cope. And cartoon steam starts coming out of his ears. He's like, do you know what it's like to have to tell your parents your God-given name and you can't use it on the byline? You set me up. Who gave you that question? Nover? He's the guy to kind of smile to your face and stick a shiv in your back. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, I pissed off the icon. Oh shit. We come back on the air. He's back to friendly Myron again. Doobie doobie. Nothing happened here. Nothing to see here. La la la. So years later, I'm on KDK radio, and he's being inducted into the Broadcaster Hall of Fame in Chicago. And I'm thinking we must have patched things up because he's agreed to do the interview. So at the very end, I say, congratulations, Myron. Well deserved. Have a toddy for me. He's like, have a toddy? You must be a drunk. I'm like, well, as a matter of fact, I am a drunk, Myron, but FCC regulations say that you cannot drink while you're on the air, or maybe you wouldn't know that. He's like, thanks for that. Flash forward a few years later, I'm on another radio station. I call to see if he'll do the show. And he's like, I'm not feeling well, John, maybe down the road. I'm like, all right, I'll call you down the road. He's like, okay, call me down the road. Wait a minute, don't call me down the road. You have that Mark Madden on, and he calls me a drunk, and you're unprofessional, and I never liked you in the first place, and blah, 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 blah. I said, you know what, Myron, fuck you. And I hung up, and he died a few weeks later.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
And that's how I know, that's why I assume Myron Cope died hating me.
Yeah, you know,
but he did put me in one of his books, and he misspelled my name. This alleged great print journalist misspelled my name. He didn't bother to check the spelling.
Well, I am reading a book about him now, Behind the Yoy, and it's full of wonderful stories. You know, he really was extraordinarily gifted sports writer. He was a feature writer, a profile writer. I mean, he made people come alive. He had a sense of humor, and he wrote in this folksy style. He was brilliant.
Yeah, I've read a lot about it. That he got a lot of well-deserved congratulations for writing a lot of great print pieces. He might have been a better print guy than a broadcast guy. That's debatable, of course. But another character.
Oh God, another character. He does talk in this book. They talk about the going when one of the first jobs he had was at the Post Gazette, and they didn't really use his talent. They had him taking little league scores and stuff like that, and it was the editor at the time who said you can't have Kopelman. We already got some Jews, they had some Jews that had Jewish sounding names, and they didn't want to look like, the Jews were taken over. And in the story in this book, they say that the guy is the one who opened he went to Cope. He went to the seas to try to find something. And who knows? Who knows? By the way, Wichita, Kansas.
Well, No, it wasn't Wichita.
Wichita, Kansas, Bob Dole and Arlen Specter.
No, but it wasn't Wichita and Shirley.
You're sure?
I can Google that.
Well,
yeah.
I got that from Milton Holt, who is our absolute, he's our go-to guy for any facts on this show. I don't know. Are you Googling?
Russell. It is Russell, Kansas. I guessed that earlier. It's Russell, Kansas.
Russell.
I just Googled it. Yeah.
Ah, is it a suburb of Wichita? But they're Russell.
I don't know.
Yeah, see, Wichita I wouldn't have called a small town, but that's because I'm from Green Bay.
Right.
But yeah. Well, John, we are, damn it, out of time. Do you know you butt called me twice yesterday?
I didn't know that.
4 times
I believe
today.
you, but I didn't know that.
So where is your?
No,
Where were you this morning? It was sounded like a coffee shop.
I was at La Prima in the Strip. Really? I called you from there too? My God, I don't know. I put my phone in my pocket sometimes and all sorts of things happen. If I just walk down the street.
Yeah.
Wondrous and weird things occur.
Yeah, I know. That's
what
I thought too. Yeah. Okay, so again, if you want to see and hear John and me and Councilman Mosley and
Bethany Hallam and the Councilman, yeah.
Yes, it's at
September 7th. The Parkway Theater, McKees Rock, parkwaytheater.org. If you want to get your tickets online, parkwaytheater.org.
Thank you. John, I'm looking forward to seeing you. You're great. Thank you.
Me too.
Hey, and where can people see you?
Okay.
You're on Facebook. You're doing a weekly thing on Facebook.
Yeah, if you look me up on Facebook, you can see the World's on Fire with John McIntyre weekly podcast because the recorded versions are always posted. If you want to see it live, it's at 6:05 p.m. every Friday.
Cool. And I bet you're drinking during it, or you're smoking pot.
No, I used to drink during and before shows if it was on stage, and then I found myself I was just slow. So I always wait till after shows now.
Good for you.
I was just a beat slow.
Good for you.
But you can also find me on TikTok, and Twitter.
Okay. It's worth a trip, guys, because this guy, more talent than anybody had, and he never got the position he should have had because of the bean counters and panty waists that run broadcasting outlets. Just saying. All right, John.
Yeah, no argument here.
I know. I heard the silence. So
Thank you, Lynn.
Okay, I'll see you soon.
All right.
Okay.
September 7th. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Bye. God,
Bye.
September 7th. That's like a week or something. Okay, guys, that's it for this week, and thank you for joining. And have a good Labor Day weekend, and that includes Monday, and I'll see you on Tuesday.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.